Hi everyone, Dave from Focus Building Inspections, today I just wanted to give you a short presentation of our services, a bit of our history, and a bit about myself as well. Here's a couple of photos of my past. So the photo on the top right corner, that was probably 2 or 3 weeks after I first met my wife Julie. So this was quite a while ago. The one on the bottom left, that was on our honeymoon at Great Keppel when it was still open. There's a photo of the kids, Julie and I can't remember what age we were then, but it was certainly a few years ago as well. And this one is probably a little bit more recent, probably about 2 years ago. We were having dinner at a function up on, where was that at? It was there's a four-wheel drive function, I can't remember the venue, but anyway, it was a great function. And here's a bit of some of the things that I like to do when we have our spare time. We'd like to do a bit of four-wheel driving and some sightseeing, caravanning. So this is our passion probably for the last 10 years, has been spending time enjoying life, which is I think what life's all about, trying to make something of it, enjoy it, especially enjoying it with someone that you love and care for. So here's a bit of information about the Focus Building Inspections team. So there's myself, Julie, my wife, and my son Chris, who I still have hopes that he will be a building inspector, but he's doing very well as a construction manager with the company he's at the moment, and I just cannot see my way to being able to coax him across for a few years by the looks of it, but sometime in the future hopefully he will come on board. So a little bit about my building industry experience. So officially I started my building industry career in about 1984. Prior to that I was weekends, school holidays, I used to work with my father as a bricklayer, and soon realised that that was not my career path. It was a bit of a hard slog, so I decided to become a carpenter, which led me to other opportunities. So building supervisor, construction manager, building contractor, and now a building pest and pool safety inspector. So some of the licenses that I hold to be able to provide the services that I do provide. So low-rise builder, which is required to hold a residential building inspector licence. Completed residential building inspector licence, obviously. Pest management technician, pool safety inspector, asbestos class B, and a medium-rise site supervisor licence. So, maintaining all these licences, sometimes I have to jump through some hoops, online courses throughout the year, plus I'm paying fees to multiple government agencies, so not only the QBCC, but also Queensland Health. So, for an example, to hold a pest management licence, I have to have a Queensland Health licence, and I have to provide that licence to the QBCC to have a QBCC licence so I can actually trade. So it's a bit of government take there. So services, I'll flick through some of these pretty quick. They're pretty standard things. So pre-purchase, pre-sale billing and pest inspections. Property search report, which is a new one, so keep an eye on that one. Also commercial building inspections, drone aerial roof inspections, so it's an added service I've been providing for a while to help clients when we have a 2-storey house we can't get access to. I can send a drone up so we can have a bit of a view of the roof to see if there's any concerning conditions up there. Also pool safety inspections and handover inspections, so for a new home, when you do your final inspection with your builder, I can come in and do an inspection on that as well for you if you like. I just threw in a couple of standards because people get a little bit confused about what is involved in an inspection. So I don't know if you can read it from back there, but the purpose of an inspection is to provide advice for a prospective purchaser on the condition of a property at the time of the inspection. So conditions on a property can change quickly, especially when you look at, we've just had a flood that's just affected hundreds of thousands of homes. Okay, so things can change quickly. The extent of reporting includes major defects and a general impression regarding the extent of minor defects. Now this is the Australian standards. The reason I'm pointing out some of this is my reports that I do are far over and above the Australian standards. The Australian standards does not say that I need to provide photos in my reports. The Australian standards does not say that I need to report on every minor defect that I see. The Australian standards does not say that I should be reporting on maintenance items, which I do report on some maintenance items that I believe are likely to become a minor defect if they're not addressed. So my reports are above the Australian standards. Okay, so a pre-purchase inspection is basically an inspection of all accessible areas of the property at the time of the inspection. Providing information about the condition of the property, the presence of termite damage or termite activity at the time of the inspection as well. So it is a very thorough inspection. When I do an inspection, I look inside every cupboard where there is a sink to make sure there's no water damage, there's no active leaks. I turn on every tap. I go into a roof space. I view everywhere that I can actually get access to. Sometimes there will be areas where I can't get access, and those are called limitations and obstructions. So when I do have those obstructions, in a report it'll actually be nominated on the report that those areas there are limitations to those areas. Pre-sale inspection report, it's pretty much the same as a pre-purchase. It just has different advantages. So it can provide a vendor with the opportunity to provide their prospective buyers with a copy of a report that can show them the property is in good condition and to give them confidence in making a better offer when they're making their purchase. So something new that has just come on board over the last month is we now have access with our inspection reports. If I do a pre-sale inspection report for a client, I can list that inspection report on Hello Reports, and a prospective buyer can go to helloreports.com.au, they can type in the address and they can purchase a report online. So if it's a house that's going to auction, agents can refer them to this site, they can just type in the address and they can download that report at a reduced fee. So when I say a reduced fee, it's not the same fee as the initial inspection. It's usually about 50% of the cost, thereabouts. If they go onto that site and there's no there's no report listed up on that site, it will give them a list of building inspectors in the area that can provide them with a building inspection report. Excuse me. So something else that is new as well, and we've only just started this, and this is something I think everyone is going to love. So this is a development property search report, and to buy one of these from the Devello website, it's about $33 per report. So we're now buying them in bulk from Devello, so we get them at a greatly reduced price. So now with every building and pest inspection that we do, we are providing a copy of this report at no charge to our client. So that's an extra value of $33 basically. It's not costing us $33, but the relative cost is $33. So the Devello report will show information on easements, biodiversity, noise areas, flooding, heritage, stormwater pipes, bushfire, steep landscape, and sewage and storm Sewage and water, yeah. So there's a wealth of information in this report. I think it's about 15 pages long. It's not too long, but it certainly gives you great information and confidence that you're not buying a home that's going to be in a flood area. You're not buying a home that's below a flight path. So it's certainly a valuable document to have. So I'll go through a couple of photos because we're getting close to our time limit. But here's some photos of some standard defects. Our favourites, which is our flexi hoses that are about to burst. Thermal viewing, so I do use a thermal camera for every inspection to help me find problems like this. Water damage in the arg trays from a leaking shower tray. Asbestos in the roof space, we've all seen that one before, it's a popular one. And yes, I have found other issues of asbestos in the roof space since that job as well. Aircon overflows not connected, which is pretty common in the industry. Aircon overflows connected to a water tank, which is another problem in the industry. Gutter overflow. So this is it looks like it's something minor, and most people look at that and go, oh, okay, I've got some leaves in my gutter. The amount of times that this turns into water ingress is unbelievable. So keep your gutters clean, put some leaf guards on, it'd be the best bet. But it's very important to maintain your gutters. And obviously on top of that, we have our Handy Tips app, which I have handy videos on for our clients, and a great wealth of information. And it's also got a list of some of our B&I members that can provide services to our clients if they need it as well. Our reports are guaranteed in 24 hours, but they're usually available the same evening. And they include pictures of defects, the likely cause of the defects, recommendations on how to address the defects, and who should be considered to address the defects. And that's it. That's me.
Very good.
I
Time for a few questions.
Yep.
I do have one.
Yeah.
More of a, whether it's a question or like a statement, but the flexi hose thing that you raised there, is that something you would recommend people just in their own homes check that on a regular basis, like under their, kitchen sink or under the
Definitely, 100%, yeah. And I quite often tell clients when I see one that's even just got a spot of rust, I remind them that will deteriorate further, and within 12 months, it's likely to get to a point where it may burst, because the rate of deterioration sometimes can be very quick. Yeah.
And that's the key thing, isn't it? Like as soon as you see any rust on it, it's basically a toast. You've got to
Look, if I saw a little bit of surface rust on it, I'd probably clean it, just to buy a little bit of longevity if you wanted to. But once you see any of the braiding deteriorating, that's when you've got to replace them. Because once that braiding deteriorates, the rubber hose inside, it'll bubble out like an air bubble, and it bursts. And once it bursts, that water will flood and continue to run until someone turns the mains off on the house. Because that's the only way to stop it.
I've heard of that happening to people when they go on holidays, they come home and the house is full.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Yeah.
they just the flexi hose.
Well, there's no one to turn it off.
Yeah, that's it. No one knew.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Fred?
Yep.
Just with the safety issues, obviously something that I see all the time is, for an example would be the painting of termite-laden sort of stairs and handrails, things like that. Do you see much of that, or in sort of older Queenslanders?
Yeah, look, I mean, if someone was going to try and conceal some termite damage, which is what you're probably referring to, or timber decay. Okay, so timber decay is a form of timber pest, so it sort of comes under the same category too.
Yeah.
But look, if someone repairs it and they do a good repair job on it and it's painted, it's unlikely that it get picked up on a building and pest report. However, the amount of times I've seen someone do those repairs, they're usually visible. And normally I'll put on a report that there's been previous repairs done that are either incomplete or poorly completed. So quite often I put that on my reports, yeah.
Yep.
Would you say, who do you find are the best referrers of work?
The best referrers?
Yeah.
Look, it's probably 50-50 of my previous clients and agents. I think my previous clients, because when they get a report, they are surprised at how in-depth the report is and how thorough it is. And whilst some agents have previously commented that my report has too much information in it for the buyers,
For the guys or the agents?
I've had that comment before, but some of them have said they like it because it's showing them that it is a thorough report and that there is no major defects, and the explanation of the items in the report gives them a clear understanding, so there's no misconception of the severity of a defect. Whereas some people's reports will be a little bit ambiguous, terminology will be a little bit different, so people will read something and interpret it as a huge problem that may not necessarily be a huge problem. Yeah.
Greg?
Testimonial for Dave, because I asked him to go and do an inspection for my daughter about 2 years ago. And as a contrast to other inspections I've seen as a seller, Dave's not the sort of person who actually is just after protecting his own market. Like, the report is not about protecting himself. The report's about being fair and open to everyone involved. He had a conversation, my daughter present, I was present, the real estate agent present, talked objectively about a range of different things he found. Like, he found things that neither the real estate agent or my daughter sort of knew about or part of the process. And he found a couple of things which he said, have a look at this as opposed to don't panic about this sort of stuff, and just point out a couple of things to me that have another inspector to come in, and that one's inspector, a specialist to come in to have a look at something. It may be something, but it's probably not. So really sensible, good advice, engaging type of process, great information, and got a great result from the board.
No, thank you. And I do recall there was some damage to some framework inside the bath box that we couldn't access or visually see, but we did note that there was a cracked tile, I think, on the bath hob and possible potential damage underneath. But yeah, no, so doing building and pest inspection reports can be problematic. As much as we try as hard as we can to find every single thing we can, there's always going to be something that is difficult to see or that's concealed because we can't see, we don't have X-ray vision. But that's why we use as many tools that we have at our disposal, which is like thermal cameras, moisture meters, and those sorts of things. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks,
No
mate.
worries.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.